Hello, welcome parents. It is the 2021/2022 school year curriculum night. Hello, it's nice to meet you. I am Miss Froberg. I am your child's 7th grade Individuals and Societies teacher. I'm going to be sharing some information about myself as well as our class. Come on in, let's get started. A little about me. I grew up in Davison, Michigan, so right outside the Flint area. And moved to Southfield a couple years back. I still live there. It's a great spot, nice and close to the school. I teach both 6th grade and 7th grade individuals and societies at ROMS. So some of you, I had your student last year, so it's really great to have them back. I have a Bachelor of Arts and Sciences in Secondary Education from Oakland University, so I'm certified to teach grades 6 through 12. I majored in History and Social Studies as my focus, so that is what allows me to be here. Some of my teaching experience, I student taught at Rochester Adams High School, where I taught 3 different classes, which was a lot of fun, but I'm actually really glad to be at the middle school level here at Royal Oak Middle School. And it is my 3rd year, so I'm so glad to be back, and I'm loving every second of it. A little bit about our class. We mainly focus on where we come from. So we will start pretty early in time. We'll study early humans, hominids, how people move over time, migration patterns, how we developed farming communities into civilization, as well as the rise and fall of empires. We have a lot of really exciting things coming up this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. My ultimate goal at the end of the day is that kids can learn and make connections with their life in the real world, and that we get to travel different places in this class, which is always a lot of fun. It's a really good curriculum. Classroom expectations are short but sweet. My number one priority is that everyone is respectful. I have a very high expectation that students are, and as well as for myself, considerate, kind, and thoughtful. We always want to be looking out for each other and trying to uplift everyone. So that is my ultimate goal as we create this family community in my classroom. That being said, part of being respectful is being prepared and being on time. So it's kind of like, these are like little subsets of being respectful. Passing time is short this year, so I want students to focus on being on time. 5 minutes is not very long, but anything they might need from their locker, they get beforehand and they're ready for class, like right when we're ready to start. And they need to bring every single day their composition notebook and their INS folder. So those are expectations that as long as they meet these 3, they are good to go. And then last but not least, some of the students came back for hybrid learning last year, but that transition to full-time school can be difficult. So lots of questions. I expect kids to be honest. Any questions, whether it's about school, life, class, any of that, if students need help, I really, really, really want them to ask. So that is an expectation as well. For grading, we are moving back to our MYP framework. Basically, everything on this screen right now, let me move me out of the way. So everything on the screen is basically just a lot of words, fancy words for we are doing standards-based grading this year. And basically what that means is we want to get this idea of percentages and scores out of our head, because all students learn and experience things differently. They learn at different rates and paces, and standards-based grading is meant to highlight students' strength and let them improve from there. We have 2 main criteria that we are graded on. That's knowledge and understanding and communicating. So those are our main focuses this year. But how this works basically is that all classwork, homework, formative assessments, whatever you want to call them, they actually don't hurt the student's grade, and it's a way for them to practice their skills. And they're practicing for the summative assessment or the test or the project, where they will be graded on a 8 level of mastery rubric. So it's really set to highlight where the students are at in terms of their learning, and encouraging them to keep trying and grow as a learner. I really love this style of grading and learning because it encourages students to keep trying and do their best. So they'll be graded on an 8 level rubric of mastery. So if students get like a 4, that's not to say they got a 50%. It's not a 4 out of 8. They're just at a level 4 in terms of their mastery. And all of the rubrics will outline what that means once we start projects or tests. Viewing grades on Canvas, everything is going to be on Canvas. Even if they do an in-class assignment, all of the comments and feedback will be available on Canvas. Even though it's not hurting their grade, I still want them to look at that feedback on Canvas. I have a couple things that I'm getting into Canvas, so you'll be able to see that soon. A lot of students already have some feedback on some things. So you can check grades by using the left-hand column on the home page on Canvas, or clicking the View Grades in the bottom right on the Canvas dashboard. Something new I'm doing this year, well, I always believe in retakes and redos because I think it's fair, and MYP grading allows us to do that. On all assignments, they can redo an assignment as many times as they'd like. They don't have to ask, nothing like that. They just redo it, try to move up in terms of their learning and mastery. Excuse me. And they can do that. I also let students retake assessments. So they can resubmit projects, they can retake a test. For actually leveled tests or what would seem like a traditional test that is being taken, there's going to be an initiative to retake that test, and then there will be a scheduled day, probably after school, that students are able to attend all in one sitting and retake right there, and I'll still be available for them to ask questions and things like that. And then something new that I'm doing this year is all tests are going to be open note. So I really want to encourage students to be diligent in their notes, following along in class, and then they're just going to be much more ready for the assessment, which is cool. So we'll see how that goes. Academic honesty, I've never really had a problem with this. I just encourage students to complete their own work and then don't copy anybody. You have a ton of chances, even if you are falling behind or not prepared, you can turn in your assignments at any time. So there's really no need to be academically dishonest. Absences. Students are responsible for making up any work missed during their absence. When absent, students should check Canvas for all of their work. I have it posted daily. I also have handouts available weekly in an absent work folder in my classroom, so that's available for students as well for when they return, if they don't have access to a printer or what have you at home. But I highly encourage students to be checking Canvas daily if they are absent. And that's pretty much it. I'm available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Expect a response in 24 hours. You can reach me at my email. It's my first name and last name, last name at royaloakschools.org. Any questions you might have about the curriculum or class or absences, anything like that, I highly encourage you and your student to email me anytime. And I'm really good about getting back. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for coming along. I'm really excited to be working with you as well as your student this year. I'm very much looking forward to having a great year in person at ROMS. Bye!